back to Northwest City Politics in the Know with Juanita. We're glad to have you with us again this evening. We're glad that you're interested in the issues that are happening in the cities in Northwest Community Television's viewing area. It is really important for good government that there's citizens like you out there that are following what's happening in your city, and from time to time, when it's something that's really important to you, you're taking the time to call your mayors and city council people and share your ideas with them. The city council and the staff need that input to help make the government in our cities good and reflective of the people that live there. So we're glad that you're joining us. If you haven't watched us before, from time to time, we will have people on from the 9 cities in Northwest Community Television's viewing area, mayors, city council, people that know the issues that are going on of each city. And from time to time, we'll have on some of the wider groups like the legislators or Northwest Hennepin Human Services, there I got it, groups that affect all of our cities. So we're glad that you're with us tonight, and tonight we're going to be looking at issues that are happening in the city of New Hope. And I'm very happy to welcome Kathi Hemken back on our show.
Thank you.
We've had you on our show before, so we're very happy to have you again to give some information about my city. And since you've been on our show before, you know that I'm going to ask you to take the time for you to introduce yourself out to our wider audience, because people that aren't from New Hope might not know you or your background and how you got involved.
How I got here. Well, my name is Kathi Hemken. I'm the mayor of New Hope. I've been in New Hope since 1976. My husband and I raised 6 children here. I have 11 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren. I got involved in city politics by joining the Planning Commission. Served on that for 11 years, 2 as the chair, and then just wanted to do something else. And when there came an opportunity to run for mayor, I did, and here I am.
Right. Now, moving on to something that all our cities are working with and almost ready to complete is your 2015 city budget.
The budget.
And when does the city start on it? Because we're trying to let people know, so if they've got questions about it, they might know next year what's happening. When do you start?
The city manager typically starts like January or February, talking to his department heads. And what he does is he asks them for a list of what you absolutely have to have. What would you like? If you just could wish for something, what would you? And then that takes a while, and then he goes back and looks at that and says, that's not a very good idea, or yes, I agree, we should have that. So this process goes back and forth with the city staff until about June or July. And then they start presenting drafts to the city council. And at that time, we start looking at, by September, the city has to set a maximum levy. Now that maximum levy is how much is your budget, your city budget, going to increase. So in New Hope, we've set the maximum levy at 3.95%, which is about a $600,000 increase over last year. But the interesting thing about that is because home values have increased in New Hope, people are actually going to see about a 4% decrease in their city property taxes, which took me a while to figure out.
So good to explain to people.
Well, because when we talk about the levy, that is really how much money it costs to run the city. And once we know how much money it costs to run the city, then we take and we divide that amongst all the property owners. Well, if your value of your house has gone up, we get to spread that out just a little bit more. So actually, your taxes your city taxes are going down, and we don't have any control over of the school or Hennepin County or the state. These are just simply city taxes.
Yeah, because it's very important to know that it's kind of roughly, roughly about 1/3 for the city, roughly 1/3 for the county, and 1/3 for the school district, and then a couple other little districts.
Now on December 1st, which is a Monday night, at 7 o'clock, people can come in and talk about the budget if they so choose. It's also online, so they can go online and look at the whole budget, or they can go and get the budget packet. We don't send that out to everybody because it's quite big, of course. There's a lot of details. I have to tell you that basically New Hope is very frugal.
Yes.
And we like being very frugal. We don't spend money foolishly. But there are some things that need to be done, such as keeping our roads,
Oh, right.
making sure our lights are on, making sure that the sewers are, that's a good thing, making sure the sewers are running
Right.
properly. So there's all kinds of things that we do. We have a very good police department. We pride ourselves in that. One of the things that's really a good show of that is Duck Duck Days.
Oh,
We don't
right.
have any major problems like some of the other cities do because we have this excellent police department with a reserve department that
Oh,
works
right.
with us. We have an excellent fire department. Those things all cost money. And so that's partly why we go through this,
Right.
so that we're spending money where it makes sense and not spending it where it doesn't.
Yeah, so like if some people, at this point, you're almost at the end of the line, but if some people are really interested in this issue, because there are some people that are very more financially knowledgeable than I am, that they can follow this whole process.
They can.
And you have work sessions where they could get explanations.
Yep,
So
and they're always open to the public.
Right.
You can always get budget information from us, being the council or staff. We try to run really open government so
Right.
that if you have a question, when you come on the 1st of December, if you have something that you want changed and it makes sense, it can't just make sense to one person. It has
Right,
to make sense
right.
to 20,000
right,
people.
right.
Makes sense. We don't have to actually certify our budget until the 8th of December. And so show up and
Oh, right.
listen to the presentation.
And know where the city's money is going, because I think it's important. A long time ago, I had somebody mention, probably what people are concerned about taxes is that money getting well spent?
I think it is,
Right.
you know, because I watch the whole process, and I think they're very careful where they're spending it. We take great pride in having an ice arena,
Right.
having a golf course, having wonderful parks, dance programs. These things, in some cases, they cost money.
Oh, right, right.
The golf course and the ice arena actually support themselves, but it took some money to get them
Oh, it did.
to that point.
It did.
And so we like those amenities in our city, and they cost money.
Well, and that's what we wanted to encourage people. If you're concerned about it, get involved in the process and really see what's happening with the money in your
Yep.
cities. And then that levy that you set in September is a maximum, but you
Yeah.
could make it lower
we
if you
could make
wanted
it
to.
lower.
Right.
It's 3.9%,
Okay.
3.95. We could make it lower. At this point, we've cut just about every place
Okay.
we can. So I'm guessing that's probably
Right.
where it's going to end up, but that doesn't mean it has to.
Okay. So people should remember, December 1st, 7 p.m., City Hall,
New Hope City Hall.
and be there because there'll be a presentation made of the budget, so you'll see the breakdown of it.
Yep.
And then if you want to, ahead of time, go online, because you can see where
You
it's
can see
coming
it
from.
online.
And then I think over the years, the city council, working with the group that helps you with finances, has really simplified the budget so it's much easier to understand.
We go outside to a firm called AEM.
Yeah.
And that's their main job. So we don't have a finance director. We find this is it's actually less expensive than the whole finance director and all the things that go with that. These people come in, they have showed us how to do the budget
Oh, right.
in a very open way. They guide us through each step so that all of the council is very well aware of what's going on in the budget at each step, as well as staff, of course, is really well versed on the budget.
Now, New Hope is doing a holiday food and toy drive. Can you tell us a little bit about the drives that are being sponsored by the city?
I can. Our city actually, 42nd Avenue is the dividing line. Everybody south of 42nd goes to Prism Food Shelf.
Okay.
Everybody north of 42nd goes to Near.
All right.
We have in the middle of our city something that used to be called the Emergency Food Network. It's now called the Food Group. And they're not actually a food shelf. What they are is a distributor to the two food shelves.
Okay.
But when we have these food drives and toy drives, the food we collect or the money we collect goes to one of those two places. And so rather than decide who gave us what, we just split it in half, and half
Sure,
goes to NEAR and half
sure.
goes to PRISM. They're always looking for toys for kids.
Okay.
Very often the toys are for little kids. They really need toys for that 9 to 12-year-old group.
Okay.
Because they're a little harder to buy for.
Right.
Those toys should be new in their original wrappers. They shouldn't be wrapped.
Okay.
Because what they do is they go to the food shelves, and people actually shop there.
Right,
And
right.
if you don't have the money to buy food, you probably don't have the money to buy toys for your kids. And they're allowed to go and buy a toy for each, get a toy for each child. And so the toys will also, between the two food shelves, they'll also go to Toys to Tots.
Okay.
So that's another. So they're doing, they're collecting things until, I think, the 20th of November, and then they'll start again collecting for the December.
And then are there particular food goods that you're looking for?
They have to be non-perishable.
Okay.
So canned goods, boxed goods. Canned meats are always good, like the canned tuna, canned chicken, Spam, if you like Spam. Canned goods of any sort. It's obvious why we can't have perishable foods. Just a little thing that's happening with the food group that supplies the food shelves. They're actually putting in an urban garden.
Oh, that's cool.
Right in the middle of New Hope. So they'll be growing food that they're going to, perishable food.
Yeah.
They'll be growing things like tomatoes and corn and beans that they'll pick and bring to the food shelf, so that instead of people that are going to the food shelf simply getting non-perishable canned goods, they're going to be able to get fresh. So I'm really excited for them.
Okay, then where should people bring the items?
To City Hall.
Okay.
If City Hall isn't open, they can go kind of around the corner to the police department.
Okay, right.
There'll be a bin there that's there 24 hours. They're open 24 hours a day. So
The winter rec programs for all of our cities are just getting underway, and New Hope's is also. How can citizens find out about the recreation programs that are available?
Well, they can always go online.
Okay.
They can always go to our city website, go to Park and Rec. It'll list all them. They have something called In Motion. It's a magazine that comes out. That should be out by now, listing all the programs. They have programs for little kids, for parents and little kids together, for teenagers. They have hockey things for adults, male and female. They have volleyball leagues. They have just about everything you can imagine. However, I have to warn people, they fill up pretty quickly.
Oh, right,
Because they're really very popular. So if they're looking for any kind of winter activity, that's the place to look for it. We also have something called Don't It Make You Wonder. It's something they have once a month where you go and listen to a speaker. It's not a physical activity, it's just a nice activity. And again, on the website, websites are wonderful.
They are. Nowadays, it's easy to find things that would have been a little hard for the city to let people know about. You can reach a lot more people. And how do people register for these programs?
Well, they can either go to the Park and Rec Department in City Hall and pay right there. I believe they take credit cards. They can do that online with a credit card. In the In Motion that comes out to the residents, it tells you how to do that.
And everybody gets a copy of that in the mail, right?
Yes. They don't always keep it.
Right.
So if, oh yeah, I think I got that, but I think I threw it away. You can always go online and register that way. But if you register online, obviously you have to have a credit card.
Right. But this is the time of year, so if you're thinking of doing something a little extra with your kids or with yourself, this is the time to
do it.
Right, for New Hope. And all of the other cities too have that same kind of program.
We do a lot of things with the City of Crystal because we found that a lot of times a program, we might need 30 people to make the program work, and we only have 20. So we open it up to Crystal. We do a lot of things at the Crystal Center that actually New Hope helps to sponsor.
Sure.
Just because it makes sense to do that. It's a cost financial thing. We found that working together with other cities. And speaking to working together, I want to put one more little plug in for Beyond the Yellow Ribbon.
Oh, right.
That's the cities of Crystal, Robbinsdale, New Hope, and Golden Valley. The 4 cities have gotten together. We have been proclaimed a Yellow Ribbon City, which is a real big deal.
Oh, right.
Beyond the Yellow Ribbon's objective is to help veterans and their families. it's very easy to get people willing to help. Where the hard part comes is people calling and saying, I could use some help.
Or people that know of somebody that could
Yes,
use some help, I
yes.
think.
If you know your neighbor could use some help shoveling snow, that's the kind of thing that Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, they can call the city, they can always call me, we'll give them a phone number in which to call, or we will find the person for them
Right.
to do the job.
Yeah, so if it's veterans or
Veterans'
people
families.
with kids, or people with their family members overseas now.
So military, you know, the mom's overseas, dad's here with the three kids and has to get one of those kids, all three of those kids to three different places. Maybe what he needs is a driver.
Oh, right.
Once a week.
Right.
Those kind of things are the things we can help with.
Yeah, because sometimes it's hard to ask for help, but somebody else might notice that you need the help.
Yeah.
And you're very happy if people will pass that information along.
I'd be thrilled.
Right.
We can get them, we keep it very confidential.
Right.
We don't pass out names, of course.
Right.
But we're here willing to help
Right.
if they need help.
This is the time of year that cities are looking for applications for commissions. What are the different commissions that New Hope has that
New
people
Hope has
can apply for?
We have a planning commission,
Okay.
and their job is to look at the ordinances. So when a new developer comes in, they make sure that the setbacks are right, the height is right, you know, the right kind of siding,
Right.
and it fits within the zoning. So that's the planning commission.
Okay.
There's a citizens advisory commission. Those are the guys that look at the parks. If the park equipment needs refurbishing or replacing, they're the ones that would hold the public meetings. People would come in and talk about that. It was the citizens advisory commission that found somebody to redesign the front of City Hall. I should tell you, not at any expense to the city.
Right.
We had somebody from North Hennepin come in and do the design, and then the kids came in and actually planted the plants. I shouldn't say no money. We paid for the plants, I think, some of them.
But minimal.
Yeah. So that's what Citizens Advisory Commission does. They will advise the golf course on different ways to market that beautiful facility we have.
Right.
They advise the ice arena on thoughts about bringing in different tournaments. So that's what Citizens Advisory does. And the third commission is the Human Rights Commission. And because New Hope, I just read the papers, 39.9% diverse.
Right.
We are a very diverse community, and we want to make sure that everybody is heard, everybody understands everybody else's point of view. You don't have to like it, you just have to understand it.
Right.
And so we have not had any serious human rights issues.
Right.
But we put on numerous Know Your Neighbor events the Human Rights Commission has. So the Human Rights Commission is looking for, they're looking for 2 students, one from Cooper, one from Armstrong, because their charter says they should have 2 students on there. And then anybody else over 18 that is available one day a month, one evening a month, to work on that. Citizens Advisory meets once a month. I want to say the second Tuesday of the month is Citizens Advisory. The Planning Commission meets once a month, plus they have a subcommittee, either Codes and Standards or, I just drew a blank what the other name is, but they have 2 subcommittees in planning. I don't believe the Planning Commission is looking for anybody at the moment. I think they're full, but a lot of the guys, people on the Planning Commission, their charters are up, their commission's up the end of 14, so they may or may not reapply. So if you're interested in any of those commissions, again, you can go to the website. You can call City Hall and ask for an application. You can go into City Hall and they'll give you an application. The process is you fill out the application, and it basically says, how long have you been here? Have you done anything else? What are you interested in? How do you think you can help? We've had people apply for one commission, but it was very obvious to us they should be on the other one. And so we've talked to them and said, you know, how about we move you to this commission instead of that one, because it makes more sense. It's not a difficult process. Then we take those applications, and the City Council looks at them. We interview the people that are applying for them to make sure that it's a good fit. People don't always apply for the commission that's the best fit for them. So we kind of help them into the best fit. And then they get appointed, and Join the commission.
Yeah, so if somebody's ready, get the application now, because this is the time
This is the time.
when you'll be adding on. But also, if they're not quite sure, I always think people could go to the website and look at minutes from the commissions, or go visit the meeting.
They could, all the
Right.
meetings in New Hope
Right.
are always open to the public.
One area that you just hit on, and I noticed that in the paper too, is our northwest suburbs are getting more diverse. And I was surprised with New Hope. I knew there was more diversity, but they did mention the 39.6%. And
36.9.
36.9, I went the wrong way. Now, what would you like to do, to see the city be doing, to bring this to be a positive thing? Because, like you said, there's no serious problems that you know of.
I think it's a very positive thing.
Uh-huh.
The whole world is very diverse.
Right.
And we need, not everybody is the nice little white-haired lady.
Right?
So we need to address that. I think a big part of that is our farmers market. We get people there, they're talking to each other, they realize that they all want to buy food.
Right.
Anytime you can bring the community together. The Mayor's Prayer Breakfast is another wonderful way of bringing this community together. One of the things we do know, that if we put up a poster that says we're having an open house, white people show up.
Right.
People of other cultures that may not be in their culture. So you have to actually reach out to them and say, we would love to have you here. I think that's the job of the council, to reach out as much as we can. I think that's a job of every citizen to reach out.
Oh, right.
And say to your neighbor, I'm going to a council meeting, would you like to come with me? We all need to hold each other's hand and walk down this path together. And I think we can do that.
Right.
I think when we start drawing lines and say things like those people down the block, I think we've got a problem.
Right.
So the people that are living down the block want the exact same thing that I want.
Yeah, I agree.
And so go get them.
Yeah.
Bring them. National Night Out is a huge way to get our citizens together.
A beginning point, right.
It's wonderful. If I get to go around in a police car to all the National Night Out parties that I can get to, and the diversity at those parties, because these are neighbors, they know each other.
Right.
And they're really making an attempt. We have one of the largest turnouts for National Night Out. And I think that's because of Nicole Korth.
Oh, right.
She encourages that.
Right.
Our police officers encourage that. So I think that's one of the things we can do to get more people to understand that we're all the same.
And are there things you've heard of from other cities or meetings that you've gone to that you think might be good to try to increase this involvement?
Well, I've heard of a lot of different attempts. They tell me that if Brooklyn Park has a meeting where they serve food, food will always get them out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, food will always get them out. I think we're doing a pretty good job. The Human Rights Commission had a few things called Know Your Neighbor, which was they would focus on a culture. Those went over pretty well. We lost a few people off the Human Rights Commission, and now we're just revamping again. So I'm looking for that to maybe come back, so we can look at different cultures. We're very fortunate. We have the YMCA sitting right in the middle of our city. That place is so diverse. So I think they add to the bringing the community together.
Right. Then I'm having everyone on this year, because I'll kind of make a compilation of it, think about what does New Hope need to be competitive as a city as you move into the future, maybe 5-10 years down the road. What are you doing now that you think is going to help make our city more competitive?
One of the things that New Hope has, we don't have a lot of retail. We know that. So adding the Hy-Vee is huge. The other thing that's happening is not everybody wants to live in a house. And so I think the homeowners in us have to realize that not everybody wants to live in a house, and there's an awful lot of young people that want to live in apartments. And so I think by building these 2 apartments is a really good step. I like the fact that we have housing for everybody. We have starter homes, we have step-up homes, we have nursing homes, We have, apartments. So I think we have a wide variety of things. One of the things we're doing is we have a very strong police force. I think that police force makes people feel safe. Our cops very often go out to apartments to talk to the people that are there. I want the people that live in New Hope to feel safe. When they feel safe, they don't want to move. And I think that's the thing that makes us competitive. We can put in little grocery stores and we can put in little restaurants. I'm not sure that's the right answer. I think making people feel safe, and transportation's huge. Transportation's a problem.
Oh, right.
It is. It is. We the bus company tells me that they'll run a bus when there's people. There's people, so there's no bus.
Right.
It's like chicken and the egg. What comes first?
Right.
This Botno line should help, even though it's not coming in New Hope. It's coming very close.
Right.
More buses would help. We lost our 5-city bus service.
Right.
Which
right.
is really,
for
really
seniors,
too bad.
right?
But and Prism quit their bus service.
Right.
So it's something we're talking about, and how to get around and how to get people moving, get them on a bus or get them to their jobs.
And then are there any things that you're looking maybe for the city to implement in the future that would be helpful, or is it still in a talking process?
You mean like
for competition for the future?
Well, we really don't know.
Okay.
We really don't. I haven't heard anything. We think what we're doing is right.
Okay.
We haven't lost people.
Right.
We haven't gained a lot. We should gain a lot of people with this new Centra homes.
Right.
And these Center Point or Compass Point and Gates of New Hope. So we should gain new families. This referendum that just passed in 281 makes our schools competitive.
Oh, right.
When you have a strong competitive school, you have a strong community. And that's going to encourage people to move into our city because we have good schools.
Right. And anything that maybe the city would like to see the Met Council or the legislature get involved with?
We're very fortunate to have Ann Rest living in our community, our senator. We have Lyndon Carlson, who lives right across the border in New Hope, or in Crystal. But he takes care of a lot of New Hope.
Right.
Having, and Mike Freiberg, having these senators and representatives gives us a real insight into what's going on in the Senate and the House. They're very, very supportive of all the communities that they serve. I don't see that we're going to change much at all.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking your time and sharing all these ideas with our audience out here. So I hope that you've learned something about New Hope. And then remember, if it's an issue that you heard tonight that kind of resonates with you, take time to find out what's happening in your city. And we'll see you next week. Bye.